And welcome, sports fans, to today's roundtable. And we've got a whole lot to get to today. It's coming down to the end of the winter sports season, especially high school basketball. And we've got rankings for the top 25 teams, boys basketball teams here in Southeast Missouri from SEMO SportsZone.com. And also we've got district tournament seedings for classes 1 through 3 for both boys and girls basketball. That'll be coming up a little later as well. So we are coming upon district tournament time, only 2 weeks away. This coming week is the final week of the regular season for classes 1 through 3, and we'll be entering to district play the last week of this month. And class 4 and 5's got 2 more weeks of high school basketball, then they enter into their district tournaments as well. So great, very competitive basketball season's coming to an end as we're getting in, or pretty much wrapped up a lot of conference tournaments and looking ahead to district tournament play here in just a few weeks. So a very exciting time, and we'll get you those district tournament seedings in just a moment. Also, we've got a highlight from last night's game, Dexter and Kennett, to show in just a moment. Also, recap from last night's games as well. And we're going to touch on state rankings from high school basketball for this week for the state of Missouri as well. And before we get to the scores from last night, we want to remind you of some broadcasts we've got for this weekend, some replays of some broadcasts that we've got, and want to remind you of last night's game, Kennett and Dexter, and that replay will be today at noon and 6:30 on Saturday. Also, we'll replay it Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. That Kennett and Dexter game last night. And also, we got the Rector and Piggott game from Thursday night that we did, and that will replay today at 1:30 on Saturday. So those are the times you can watch those replays the past couple of games we've done here on YHC TV. And taking a look at the scores from last night, and starting off with the game that we brought to you live last night right here on Channel 21 and SEMOSportsZone.com. It was Dexter over Kennett, 61-45. Nice victory for the Dexter Bearcats, and it's their first SEMO conference win in a few years. Actually, I think it's about 3 years since they've won a SEMO conference game, and Dexter getting a very nice victory over Kennett last night for their senior night. And we've got a highlight of that game from last night, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the action from last night here on the first quarter. Dexter getting off to a great start. Ethan Flowers knocking down the three, and now Andre Oliver answering a three of his own for the Indians, and now Jacob Pettigo taking the pass from Ethan Flowers along the baseline, knocking it down. And here's Ethan Flowers once again on the left wing, knocking it down. And that was right at the end of the first quarter, beating the buzzer. Now here we got Scott Chesser knocking down the three in the second quarter. Now Maddox for the Indians, knocking down the three. Quite a few three-pointers in the first half. Now at the end of the first half, Jason Jarrell giving it up to Ethan Flowers, knocking down the three at the end of the half. And here we see Fred Gooden with a steal and a nice finish, and here a nice another basket for the Indians. And here at the end of the third quarter, Jason Jarrell getting the rebound, putting it back up right before the buzzer. So three buzzer beaters for the Bearcats in this game. And now into the fourth quarter, a nice finish by Ethan Flowers, pushing it ahead for the 61-45 victory. The Bearcats over the Kennett Indians. And a very impressive victory for Dexter last night, a SEMO conference victory, and getting a win on their home court for senior night. So certainly a nice victory for the Bearcats last night, and will serve them well going into district tournament play. Class 4 District 1, Dexter and Kennett shares that district. Kennett's beat Dexter twice already this year, once in the SEMO conference tournament, the Bloomfield Christmas tournament, and losing last night to Dexter. They keep the advantage 2-1, but I don't know, depending on what happens next week, Dexter might be able to score a higher seed. But there towards the end, you've got 6 teams in that district. You've got The top 3 teams will consist of Notre Dame, Cape Central, and Sykeston. And then the last 3, you're going to be looking at Dexter, Kennett, and Perryville. Perryville and Kennett both getting victories over Dexter. But Dexter playing some pretty good ball here the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens the next week before they seed that Class 4 district tournament. It should be a very competitive district tournament there in Class 4 this year, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And also, let's move on to some other games from last night. Bernie getting a victory over Molden, 76-61. That's a victory for the Bernie Mules last night. Also, Woodland over Zalma, 73-41. Scott County Central over Oran, big anticipated matchup, 59-44. New Madrid County Central over Jackson in a high-stakes SEMO conference game, 74-72. And New Madrid edging out Jackson last night. Also, Cape Central over Sykeston, 61-50. Advance over Leopold, 80-43. Saxony Lutheran over Meadow Heights, 54-41. Alton over Van Buren, 64-36. Charleston over Portageville, 74-39. Notre Dame over Poplar Bluff, 63-59. And what looked like Poplar Bluff being the top team in the conference, SEMO conference. At this time of the year, they've taken 2 straight conference losses. They took a loss to Sykeston and now Notre Dame in the conference. So we'll talk more about this SEMO conference here momentarily, but it's been pretty competitive. This would be an understatement. It's been a lot of turnover in this conference this year, and we've got a 3-way tie currently. We'll talk about those standings in just a moment. And also Oak Ridge over Chaffee, 48-36. Zenith Hornersville over Scott City, 79-74. And those are the results from last night in high school basketball. And we're going to touch on those SEMO conference standings, which I alluded to earlier, and what a conference it's been this year, the SEMO conference. And here are the current standings after last night's games. There's a 3-way tie for first place, so it's not even 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-way tie for first place. Jackson, Notre Dame, and New Madrid County Central, all with 5-2 records in the conference. So there you are, a 3-way tie for first place between Jackson, Notre Dame, and New Madrid County Central. And a big game last night, New Madrid County Central over Jackson. Jackson was the only team with 1 loss, but New Madrid County Central defeating them creates a 3-way tie for that first place. So Jackson could have been looking at SEMO Conference champion, or the regular season championship with victory over New Madrid. I don't know who they've got left. They got one more game on their conference schedule. All of those 3 first place teams do: Jackson, Notre Dame, and New Madrid. I don't know who they've got left, but could have been one victory away if they got the victory last night over New Madrid from that SEMO conference title. But as we expected coming into the year, especially after the SEMO conference tournament, kind of expected a tie by the end of the year is the way the conference was looking. So a 3-way tie would be something to have coming down the end of the year, and you can't really rule out a 4-way tie quite yet. If Sykeston wins out the rest of their conference schedule, and New Madrid, Notre Dame, and Jackson all suffer losses, we might have a 4-way tie, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. Notre Dame's already played New Madrid, and I think Jackson's already played Notre Dame, and we'll see. But a 4-way tie isn't completely out of the realm of possibility when it comes to that SEMO conference. And I don't think there's ever been a 4-way tie. There's probably just been a few times there's been a 3-way tie. There's been plenty of 2-way ties between two teams, but 3 is a rarity and 4 never happens. So we'll see what happens for the remainder of that SEMO conference here in the next week. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we got plenty more to get to for the remainder of your roundtable for today. So we'll take a break and be right back.
Deposit your check here or here or even there. Deposit your check wherever you are with First Midwest Bank's new mobile deposit. Just tap, snap, deposit. It's that simple. New mobile deposit from First Midwest Bank, serving the communities we call home.
Always on the go. Take the best in TV entertainment with you with New Wave to Go. Now you can enjoy your home television service everywhere, anytime on your laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Watch your favorite channels and sporting events live via the internet. Even access your home DVR to enjoy your recorded shows and movies or to set up future recordings. Prices start at just $12.99 a month. So call us today and ask about New Wave to Go. Another innovative service brought to you by New Wave, your local communications experts.
And now we're going to take a look at the SEMO Sports Zone Top 25 poll for boys basketball this week. Actually, it's going to be going into next week. This will be next week's poll reflecting this week's games. Standing at number 1, New Madrid County Central at a record of 20-3, and there's certainly been a lot of turnover on that top ranking for this year. I don't think any team's really held it for consecutive weeks, it seems like, but New Madrid County Central at number 1, and top 25 poll. Number 2, Notre Dame. 3, Jackson. 4, Poplar Bluff. 5, Scott County Central. 6, Cape Central. 7, Charleston. 8, Sykeston. 9, Bernie. 10, Park Hills Central. 11, Hayti. 12, Southern Reynolds. 13, Zenith Hornersville. 14, Woodland. 15, Malden. 16, Scott City. 17, Oran. 18, Perryville. 19, Advance. 20, Dexter. 21, Bloomfield. 22, Kennett. 23, Twin Rivers. 24, Farmington. And rounding out the top 25 is Clarkton. And on the bubble right outside of the 25, Neelyville, Puxico, Gideon, Greenville, and Caruthersville. And that's this next week's SEMOSportZone.com top 25 poll. So, as I mentioned pretty much throughout the whole year, it's been a very competitive year. Been a lot of competitive games, kind of some, head scratchers in a way. Kind of some, you could say upsets, but the way that the season's gone this year, there's really no team that really just stands out over the rest. And even within the conferences have been 4 or 5 teams deep of very competitive teams, pretty much throughout each conference this year, throughout Southeast Missouri. So it's been one of the better years to watch really competitive high school basketball this year. It's a lot of parity out there, but when you think of parity, you think that you're not getting a high caliber of basketball play when you speak of parity, but it hasn't been the case this year. It's been very good basketball teams. We just think this year we've gotten more very good basketball teams than we've had in the past. Here in the past, we've probably had some very high caliber, great teams that have kind of beat up on their respective classifications, but this year there's been teams that have kind of rised up, kind of from the middle of the ranks or even at the bottom of the ranks that they've been in the past few years and played at a very high level this year. So it's been certainly one of the best years of competitive basketball that we've seen throughout Southeast Missouri. And let's go ahead and take a look at some state rankings for this week for both boys and girls basketball for the state of Missouri. And taking a look at Class 1 boys rankings for this week. And actually, this is coming into this week, so it doesn't reflect this week's games. Number 1 at undefeated 22-0, Meadville, staying on top at number 1 as they've done pretty much all year, I believe. Number 2, Leeton. 3, South Iron. 4, Stanberry. 5, Winston. 6, Hardin Central. 7, Bramer. 8, Walnut Grove. 9, Novinger. And 10, Community. And in Class 2, Number 1, Crane at 20-2. 2, Salisbury, an undefeated 22-0. 3, Scott County Central, moving up from number 4 last week up into number 3. So Scott County's moved up quite a bit in that poll over the last few weeks. I think just a few weeks ago they were at number 6, moved up to 4, now to 3 this week. And number 4, Iberia. 5, Hartville. 6, Sacred Heart. 7, Osceola. 8, Gainesville. 9, Mid-Buchanan. And 10, Bernie. Bernie got moved out of the top 10 a few weeks ago and now moved back in at number 10 for this week. And in Class 3, Tolton Catholic at number 1. 2, Barstow. 3, Cardinal Ritter. 4, Stratford. 5, Madison Prep. 6, New Madrid County Central. New Madrid moved down a bit in the poll due to a loss in the last week. So at number 6 this week. 7, Lafayette County. 8, Maplewood Richmond Heights. 9, California. And 10, North Tech. And in Class 4, Lafayette at number 1. 2, Rolla. 3, Jefferson City Helias. 4, Lincoln Prep. 5, Pacific. 6, Moberly. 7, St. Charles. 8, Cape Central. Cape Central moving it down a bit in the poll this week. And 9, Notre Dame of Cape Girardeau, cracking the top 10 of the poll this week. And 10, Westminster Academy. And in Class 5, Chaminade at number 1. 2, Blue Springs South. 3, Nixa. 4, Webster Groves. 5, Kickapoo. 6, Fort Zumwalt South. 7, Waynesville. 8, Hazelwood Central. And 9, the Jackson Indians, moving up from 10 to number 9 this week. And 10, Lafayette of Wildwood. And that's your boys polls this week in high school basketball. And in girls, Class 1, Walnut Grove, an undefeated 20-0 at number 1. 2, Drexel, an undefeated 21-0. 3, Mercer. 4, Tuscumbia. 5, Norborn. 6, Jefferson. 7, North Andrew. 8, Southwest Livingston. 9, Bramer. And 10, South Nodaway. And in the Class 2 poll, Crane at number 1 at 20-2. And both boys and girls on top at number 1 in Class 2. Number 2, Skyline. 3, North Platte. 4, Tiptonville. 5, Gainesville. 6, Neelyville. 7, Scotland County. 8, Santa Fe. 9, Plato. And 10, Marionville. So Neelyville hanging around that top 10 in Class 2 for this week. And in Class 3, Saxony Lutheran, undefeated 23-0 on top in Class 3. 2, St. James, 19-1, their lone loss coming to the Dexter Lady Bearcats. 3, Boonville, an undefeated 19-0. 4, Park Hill Central. 5, Fatima. 6, Chillicothe. 7, Stockton. 8, St. Pius of Kansas City. 9, Licking. And 10, Buffalo. And 2 teams from southeast Missouri, Saxony Lutheran and Park Hill Central. They're occupying 2 of the top 4 rankings in the state of Missouri in Class 3. And in Class 4, Incarnate Word at number 1. 2, Mary Institute of Country Day Schools. 3, Borgia, St. Francis Borgia. 4, West Plains. 5, St. Charles. 6, Benton. 7, Smithville. 8, Bolivar. 9, Hillcrest. And 10, Westminster Academy. And in Class 5, Hickman at number 1. 2, Kickapoo. 3, Rockbridge. 4, Kirkwood. 5, Republic. 6, William Chrisman. 7, Hazelwood Central. 8, Francis Howell. 9, Washington. And 10, Parkway North. And those are your girls' rankings for this week. And a very competitive year for girls basketball in southeast Missouri. You see there in Class 2, Neelyville at number 6. And Naylor could be easily ranked in the top 10 of Class 1. I'm kind of surprised they're not. They're usually typically right there in the mix in the rankings, but not so far this year in those polls for Class 1. Class 3, look at that. Saxony Lutheran at number 1 in the state, undefeated, having a very good year. They've had some good years the past couple of years, making it to the state tournament. Last year, or the state Final Four last year, coming away with 4th place, but may be primed to win that state championship this year with already an undefeated record on the season, standing at number 1 in the state in Class 3. But you got to look at Park Hill Central right there at the 4th ranking in the state in Class 3. They could potentially meet up in the, I believe it would be the sectional round, if I'm not mistaken, a sectional round of that Class 3 district, or Class 3 sectional. We're going to get to those district tournament seeds here in the next segment, but potentially Park Hill Central and Saxony Lutheran matching up in the state tournament sectional round here in Southeast Missouri. Two of the top 4 ranked state ranked teams for Class 3 potentially meeting up in March. So that would be certainly a big matchup coming up in the state tournament in March. And there you go. There's the ranked teams for the state of Missouri this week. And we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to be back with the district tournament seedings for classes 1 through 3 here in Southeast Missouri. Classes 4 and 5 will be seeded this next week, but we got classes 1 through 3, boys and girls tournament brackets, and we're going to be back with that in our next segment, so don't go away.
What is your emergency? Need assistance at County Road 61 and Highway 9. Help is on its way.
Clear! There's a better way to jumpstart your soil back to health. Apply Endzone to protect and increase nitrogen efficiency without killing bacteria. Apply Prevent to increase phosphorus availability and reduce fixation. Better yet, use them both to get more from your fertilizer investment and see higher potential yields. Ag Explorer, your prescription for healthy soil.
Welcome to NFL Total Access.
The show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
And now let's take a look at the district tournament bracket, starting out with Class 1, District 1 for the boys. And this tournament is taking place in Clarkton this year. So Clarkton with the number 1 seed and the tournament on their home court. They'll take on North Pemiscot in the first round in the 1-8 game. The 4-5 game is Naylor and Couch. The 2-7 game is Gideon and Southland. And the 3-6 game is Delta C7 and Koshkonong. And that'll be a very competitive tournament. That Tri-County Conference, very competitive this year. And I believe that conference tournament is going to be coming up this next week down in Cooters. So a very competitive tournament coming up. And Clarkton, Gideon, and Delta C7 make up the top teams in that Tri-County Conference. So they've played some tough teams this year, tough games. Clarkton and Gideon have both split games and head-to-head matchups this year. And Delta C7 has been right there in the mix as well. So should be a very good Class 1, District 1 tournament in Clarkton this year. And that's one of those tournaments that we intend to bring live to you for that district tournament final. So that'll be a potential game we broadcast there in Clarkton for that Class 1 District 1 final. And in Class 1 District 2, the neighboring district in Class 1, that's Oran with the top seed, and they will take on Fulton School in the 1-8 game. The 4-5 game is Risco and Richland. The 2-7 game is Advance and Delta. And the 3-6 game is Bell City and Oak Ridge. So a competitive tournament there. Your top 2 seeds there with Oran and Advance could be a potential very good championship game, but Bell City going to be right there. They've had a pretty good year. They've certainly improved over the last few years, so it should be a good Class 1 District 2 tournament this year in Bell City. That's in Bell City this year for that Class 1 District 2 tournament. And in boys, Class 2 District 1, moving up to Class 2. It's going to be one of the tournaments to watch out for come district tournament time. Scott County Central with the top seed in Class 2 District 1, and they will take on Chaffee in the first round, the 1-8 game. The 4-5 game will be South Pemiscot and Campbell. The 2-7 game is Bernie and Holcomb, and the 3-6 game is Bloomfield and Cooter, and that district tournament taking place in Bloomfield. And this is another game that we intend to bring live to you right here on Channel 21 and SEMOsportzone.com, as that district final will be in Bloomfield, and we intend to broadcast that game live from Bloomfield for that Class 2 District 1 final. And this is one of the most anticipated district tournaments this year as Scott County Central moves up to Class 2. Certainly having their run of good teams here in the last handful of years. And Bernie, very good season this year. Went to the district tournament championship last year, lost out to South Pemiscot. South Pemiscot's the defending champion, but having a bit of a tough year for South Pemiscot. They're at that number 4 seed, but a very dangerous team there in the 4 seed with South Pemiscot. And Bloomfield right there in the mix. Bloomfield's been an inconsistent team this year, but certainly capable of going to that district tournament game, especially being on their home court. They'll have the home crowd behind them there in Bloomfield, and would be a very good semifinal matchup there between Bernie and Bloomfield as their Stoddard County opponents, and they've played some close games this year, and it would probably be at least the third time they've played this year if they were to match up, probably. So that would be a good one between Bernie and Bloomfield in that semifinal matchup. But Scott County Central there going to be the favorite going into that tournament, but it's going to be some good games in there. The semifinal matchup, potentially South Pemiscot and Scott County Central, and then in that other semifinal, if the seeds play out, Bernie and Bloomfield, very good semifinal game there, certainly would be. And then a potential final either with Bernie, Scott County Central, and then maybe Bloomfield, Scott County Central. Going to be some very good games in that Class 2 District 1 tournament in Bloomfield coming up in just a few weeks. And taking a look at Class 2 District 2, Lionona with the top seed. They'll take on the 8 seed Van Buren Bulldogs. And the 4-5 game, Neelyville at Greenville. Neelyville and Greenville. The 2-7 game is Thayer and Alton. And the 3-6 game is Puxco and East Carter County. And that district tournament being played in Van Buren this year. So not one of the top seeds having the home court advantage for that district tournament. But don't know a whole lot about Winona this year. They're a little out of the path here in southeast Missouri in the games that we cover. But only real teams I'm really very familiar with is Puxco and Van Buren. And Puck's going to be in there in that 3 seed. So Thayer is usually a pretty consistent team in Class 2. They seem to be a very physical team. They've got a lot of size. Don't play with a whole lot of speed, but a lot of size and a lot of muscle to that Thayer team, it seems like, there in Thayer. So Winona, can't really say anything about them. Don't really know much about them out there west in that Class 2 District 2. And moving on to Class 3 District 1 for the boys, and New Matter County Central with the top seed. They'll take on 8th-seeded Donovan in the 1-8 game. The 4-5 game is Zenith Hornersville and Crothersville. Should be a very competitive first-round game as Crothersville defeated Zenith Hornersville in I believe it was the first round of that Boot Hill Conference tournament. So should be a good Class 3 District 1 tournament in that 4-5 game between Zenith Hornersville and Crothersville. The 2-7 game is Hayti and Portageville. And the 3-6 game is Malden and Twin Rivers. And this will be a competitive tournament too, from top to bottom. And these first-round games, probably outside of New Matter County Central and Donovan, going to be very competitive in the first round. You've got Zenith Hornersville and Crothersville, as I mentioned. At the low seed, Crothersville already won in the Boot Hill Conference tournament. Hayti and Portageville. Haty's beaten Portageville down in Memphis, I believe that was, the FedEx Forum. But Portageville's an improved team this year. Can't look past them in that first round. Malden and Twin Rivers, that'll be a close one. I think Malden's already beaten Twin Rivers this year, but Twin Rivers is a consistent team. They've played consistently and took Bernie to the wire just a few weeks ago. So going to be some very competitive first-round games in that Class 3 District 1 tournament. And unfortunately for everyone out of that tournament, besides New Madrid, that tournament's going to be played at New Madrid for that Class 3 District 1 tournament. And that's a district final that we intend to bring live to you right here on Channel 21. We're going to try to bring that live to you from New Madrid in a few weeks. So it should be a very that's probably going to be your most competitive tournament in the area, from top to bottom, from the first round through the championship here in Southeast Missouri. And going to Class 3 District 2, and this is a change that we've seen coming into this year. In Class 3, Charleston moves out of that Class 3 District 1, goes out west to play in Class 3 District 2. And they are the top seed in Class 3 District 2, and they take on the two-time defending District 2 champions, Clearwater. Clearwater having a very tough year, being seated at 8th in the district this year, and that's kind of strange. I thought Clearwater was going to have a decent team coming into this year, but they've really struggled. They come in as the two-time defending district champions, and they've played Charleston 2 years in a row in that sectional round. We've carried that game as they've had it here in Dexter over the past 2 years, so they'll face up once again for a third postseason matchup for the third year in a row, but it's in the first round of the district tournament as Charleston will take on Clearwater in that 1-8 game. The 4-5 game is Scott City and Kelly. The 2-7 game, Woodland and Saxony Lutheran. And the 3-6 game is Arcadia Valley and East Prairie. So Charleston's going to be the favorite in that tournament. But Woodland, pretty strong team this year. They've got a lot of elements to that team that's pretty dangerous. They've got size. They've got speed out front with the guards. So Woodland might make a run in that tournament in Class 3 District 1. And that's the boys' brackets that have been released for Classes 1 through 3. Now we're going to move to the girls' brackets. And in Class 1 District 1, Naylor with the top seed. They'll take on the winner of the semifinal, Couch and Koshkonong. Again, that's at Clarkton for Class 1 District 1. And in Class 1 District 2, it's Oran taking on Fulton School in the first round, and Delta taking on St. Paul Lutheran in the other semifinal. And in Class 2 District 1, Chaffee, the top seed, taking on 4th-seeded Campbell, and 2nd-seeded Scott County Central taking on 3rd-seeded South Pemiscot. Class 2 District 2, the top seed is Neeluville with the first round bye, and they will take on the winner of Greenville and Van Buren. And in the other quarterfinal matchups, Alton taking on East Carter County, and Thayer taking on Puxico. And in Class 3 District 1, Twin Rivers taking on Crothersville in the first round, the 1-8 game. The 4-5 game is New Madrid County Central and Malden. The 2-7 game, Portageville and Hayti. And the 3-6 game, Doniphan and Zenith Hornersville in that district tournament at New Madrid. And in Class 3, we don't have a Class 3 District 2, but those are the girls' district tournament brackets for this year. And those tournaments will get underway not this next week, but the following week. So we got some very competitive tournaments coming up, and we will air quite a few of those district tournament finals for both boys and girls coming up in just a few weeks. So that'll be something certainly to look forward to right here on New Wave Channel 21 and SEMOSportZone.com. We'll be bringing you numerous district tournament finals and into state tournament play as well. So we're always known for bringing many of those state tournament games and district tournament final games right here on Channel 21 on New Wave Cable and online at SEMOSportZone.com. And let's see what we got left here. That's pretty much all we've got to get to for today. And it's getting very interesting coming here late for the end of the season. And we'll be sure to bring quite a few games left here for you right here on Channel 21 and SEMOSportZone.com. And again, we want to remind you of the broadcast that we've got for you. The Kennett and Dexter game will replay today at noon at 6:30 on Saturday. You can catch that replay of Kennett and Dexter. That will be uploaded to SEMOsportzone.com as well for the weekend. And also we've got Piggott and Rector. The Rector and Piggott game from Thursday night you can catch this afternoon at 1:30. And that'll be uploaded to YHCTV.com for the weekend as well. So look forward to those broadcasts this weekend and online. And that's all we got for you and for your roundtable for today. And we appreciate you for tuning in as always. Look forward to seeing you right back here with us next week on another roundtable. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a nice weekend, a happy Valentine's Day as well. Take care, everyone.